Hey guys, so today I want to make a video discussing the changes coming up to the rating match boost system. So as you guys know, the way the PvP is structured now since about a month and a half to 2 months ago now, we have this boost system depending on what tiers units lie in. So this upcoming season starting on the, I believe, it's this Tuesday. Yeah, this Tuesday should be the new season when the weekly reset happens. By the way, I definitely expect to get a Zenkai this week. We haven't gotten a new banner or a new Zenkai in like a long time. Like it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something since Ultra Gogeta's come out. We've pretty much gotten nothing new except for the free Frieza. So hopefully there's at least a Zenkai that drops so we can experience something new, because it feels like nothing's changed for a very, very long time at this point. But yeah, this season should introduce the new boost system here. And the stupid thing I think about the fact that one of the things that they do for this tier list and this announcement, this is actually in game as well. You can see this in game. They don't actually tell you like what the changes are. What they should do is they should have obviously keep this. This is fine. List all the characters that are in each tier, but then like either at the top of the list or at the bottom of the list, there should be a change log, you know, which character went from which tier to what tier. So for example, obviously you can see in the featured list here, they got rid of like the Goku and the Vegeta, the Trunks, the green Broly, the green Goku Black and Zamasu. Those characters are no longer in the featured tier. So in the change log sort of list over here, where I think they should put it on the top, they would put Goku and Vegeta, and then they would have tier prior tier and then tier now. And so they could tell you which tier they were in before and now which tier they're in now. Because I don't want to have to go through this entire thing and then say, oh yeah, this guy moved from this tier to this tier. Like it should not be on us to figure out which characters are in which tier. They should have a list clearly delineating which unit went to what tier. It makes the most sense. And I don't feel like sifting through this list and doing this myself, which is why somebody actually sent me a sort of fleshed out list here of which character ended up being in which tier. Now, I think there is probably like 1, 2, or 3 things that are probably incorrect on this list, because again, it's very difficult to actually go through here and figure out, you know, who actually changed and where they went to. But for the most part, I think this is accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this sort of change here, and we'll look at, and I'll sort of point out which ones I think are pretty notable. So basically the way this works is, if you see a plus, so for example, there's S plus and S minus. S plus means the character is moving up into S tier, and the S minus means the character is moving down into S tier. So that means that they were previously in Z tier. So I guess we'll start from the top. Blue Deborah moving into Z tier. No one's gonna use him anyway. I mean, he holds a green card. The fact, like, this is like one of the saddest units that's ever released in this game, by the way, Blue Deborah. He's never been usable because he's had 0 teams. I just want to show this because it's funny. Like, we can take a look at Blue Deborah here. I was actually, when the Zenkai Awakening system first came out, I was actually really excited to see if they were going to Zenkai this character, because he literally was never usable. He has, to this day, he has 0 tags. The only team he's on is Majin Buu Saga. So, I mean, they could Zenkai him and then make him buff blue Majin Buu Saga characters. There's a decent amount of those, right? I mean, we have Kid Buu, we have Elf Majin Vegeta, we have Blue Buu Tanks, who eventually is probably going to get a Zenkai as well, the free Blue Goku. This guy who's eventually going to get a Zenkai as well, this Buu's not bad either. So there's a few options you could actually buff up here for the blue Majin Buu Saga. It wouldn't be a terrible Zenkai, I don't think. And it would actually make him usable for the first time in history, so whatever. I don't think he's going to be used at all, even in Z tier. So probably to me the biggest shock on this list is taking a look at the S tier. Nappa, Blue Nappa is in S tier. That is definitely a video I will be doing. I mean, previously I believe he was in A tier, and if we go back to the actual rating list here, so the jump from A to S is actually pretty substantial, because he's going to be getting, from A tier, he goes from 20% of damage and 15% to defenses up to 30% damage and 25% to defenses. That is a really significant jump for him. So I'm definitely going to be covering this. I'll probably do a video on him, at least one video on him. He should be pretty absurd. And I think the reason why he's probably only in S tier here is because of the fact that, number one, people really didn't probably summon on this banner, because it wasn't that great, honestly. And number 2 because it's Nappa, and people probably don't really care about him as a character. Yellow Sin Shenron, I mean, there's not really a reason to ever use him, which is probably why he's here. There's much better yellow options for GT, right? You have Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the LF one, and then of course Oob is the prominent yellow unit you use on GT, so that makes sense. Green 16, just Android team, is pretty non-existent right now. Blue Piccolo, I mean, this is a Zenkai character. Again, regen's pretty dead, and if you're going to use regen, you're probably just going to be using Kid Buu as the main blue unit, so it makes sense. Yellow Legends Road Piccolo, actually I think this is a pretty good unit, but he is getting a he does have a Zenkai already, so that means instead of getting like the ridiculous S tier buff, he's only going to be getting the Zenkai 8% damage inflicted buff, so kind of sucks for him. And then this red Cell as well, it's kind of the same thing, right? He's a Zenkai as well, so he'll be getting the 8% damage buff. And again, same thing with Cell. Like number 1, he's red, really hard to use red units. Number 2, he's on regen, so and androids, right? It's just teams that you don't really see that often right now, so kind of in a bad spot. And then we have Rosie moving down to S tier. I don't have an explanation for this other than I guess people are just sick and tired of seeing mono purple, so they want to use a lot of yellows. I don't really know, but it's still irrelevant. She wasn't relevant in C tier, so she'll be even more relevant in S tier. Okay, so here's the most, I guess the stupidest thing about this entire list, I would say, is the fact that, so obviously we had all like the Legends Festival characters that were in featured for a long time, and now they're out of featured. But all they did was they moved them from featured to A tier. Right, so we have Goku and Vegeta, Green Broly, Sword of Trunks. We have the Goku Black and Zamasu Assist. We have the Vegito, Zenkai Super Vegito. We have Zenkai, the Broly and Chilai. And we have the new free-to-play jacket/coat Goku. So all of these characters are in A tier now. Now, if we take a look at the A tier buff, they're getting 20% to inflicted damage, and they're getting 15% to strike and blast defense. What do you guys notice about this compared to this? There's actually no difference. So when I initially saw the changes, I was like, oh, cool. Like all these units are no longer going to have the boost system, because obviously, like if we go by usage, Goku, all these units, every single one, all the new sparking, so excluding the Zenkai, so the free Goku plus these 4 over here, obviously should be in C tier because they're used a lot in PvP. But they moved him down to A tier, which I think is very dumb. I actually have no explanation for why they do that. The only difference is that for the Zenkai characters, they're getting a 3% less damage inflicted buff as compared to when they were in featured tier. So Vegito and Broly and Chilai are going to be doing 3% less overall damage, I guess is the only difference here. But again, I think there's no reason for them to automatically place units in A tier after they've been in the featured tier. Just move them to C tier. I mean, come on, like, you guys excited to fight against Goku and Vegeta at this point? No, nobody's excited. So, I mean, just move them to C tier. They've had their time in the featured tier. Let's move on with the boost here. It doesn't make any sense. It's very, very stupid. So this Red Vegeta, honestly, wouldn't really count him as a usable character. Red Piccolo looks like he'll be moving to A tier. I actually think this might be incorrect. I think the Red Piccolo probably should be in S tier. Let me just quickly scan this. So where's S tier? Piccolo. I believe yeah, I think this is him. Yeah, Red Piccolo. Yeah, so he should be in S tier. I think that was like the one thing on the list that was probably incorrect. So Red Piccolo should be in S tier. I mean, he's red. That's what it comes down to. He's red. Green Revival Gohan being an A tier could be interesting. I mean, again, the mono purple squad is the most common team you fight, but it is pretty important to have a green unit on your team just to counter Ultra Gogeta and then the Vegeta side of Goku and Vegeta, so maybe I'll revisit this guy as well. I did actually end up getting into 14 stars with the Ulti Z power from the Legends Festival, so maybe we'll take a look at him again. New level of power Ice is in A tier. Oh god, it's over. He's gonna destroy everything. That's gonna be a tough one to top. This one's interesting. Purple Demon King Piccolo is in A tier. So again, he's getting, what is it, 20% to damage and 15% to defenses from being in A tier there. That might actually be a video I do as well. Demon King Piccolo being in A tier, because I believe it was either in B or C tier. I think it was probably B tier that he was in. But really, yeah, not a lot of people using him, and again, the reason for that is just because regen is pretty dead, and no one is using Dragon Ball Saga, so makes sense there. Instant transmission Goku, just again, he's a meme unit, right? I mean, he's never gonna get a Zenkai because he would be way too broken, but just, you know, it's kind of like a meme character. Green Kid Buu moving up to A tier. He's actually not a bad unit, but again, regen being so bad. Well, not even just so bad. Just nobody uses regen right now because they haven't gotten a new character in a while. But yeah, him being an A tier I think is fine. This red Super Saiyan Goku, he's a Zenkai character, never used. Green Fat Buu being an A tier. I mean, I would actually think this is a big deal, but he's a Zenkai, so that's not really going to make that big of a difference. But the thing with Green Fat Buu being an A tier is Green Fat Buu is still like one of the staples of regen, and the fact that he is an A tier right now tells you all you need to know about how much usage the regen team is getting right now in PvP, which is pretty much nothing. And then the same thing can be said about Blue 21. Blue 21 is a really, really good support unit for regen. Not only regen, but also girls and androids, all teams which really have not received any kind of like buffs in a long time. So if you're not movies, God Key, or like Future, you're not doing too well. That's just what it comes down to. All right, so then moving down to the characters that move down into A tier, we have Lavender, who honestly, even if this guy was in Z tier, probably would still suck. So I don't even really care about Lavender. And also, again, another team that has not gotten buffed in a forever Universe Survival Saga, or just Rival Universe in general, right? Rival Universe has like literally not gotten a buff since what? Blue EX Jiren came out or something. It's been a long time. Like Purple Hit was like the latest addition to that team. Yellow Bardock, I just, again, movies has way better options. All of these teams have better options for Bardock, or than Bardock. The green transforming Future Gohan down to A tier. I mean, again, green units, and then in the future, there's no way you'd rather run this character over like Goku Black and Zamasu. Green Mai moving down to A tier. Now, Green Mai is interesting because actually she's really, really good for her Z ability. I assume this list is only counting characters that you actually bring into battle. So her being on the bench does not affect her positioning on this list, because otherwise she honestly would probably just be in C tier if they counted bench, because she's, again, a really powerful bench unit. She gives 25% HP. I think it's to girls and Future. So yeah, if it was including bench, she'd be in C tier, but obviously nobody uses Green Mai at this point. Bunny Bulma, sort of like a really, really out of place unit. I mean, a green girls character and Dragon Ball Saga, never used. And then Red Metal Cooler. I mean, I'm surprised this guy was. I'm surprised this guy's moving down. Like, who's he using? Actually, yeah. Why is he moving down? Like, who's actually using Red Metal Cooler? I have no idea. All right, so characters that look like they're moving up to B tier. We have Ultra Vegeta moving up to B tier. I mean, that's interesting. He's pretty solid. He does a lot of damage, but he can't take a hit at all. So maybe we could try him out, I guess. Grade 8 Vegeta moving up to B tier is interesting. I think this character's pretty underrated, honestly, at this point. A lot of people see him as like probably like one of the worst LFs of the year. For me, it's just not his meta. Like that's the main issue with him right now. Just the blue onslaught of characters continues, and I think he actually does have a decent spot on Vegeta Clan right now, but there's too many blues and purples where you can't get type advantage to really see a lot of play. Once we get a lot more yellow characters that are coming up into the meta, I think that's when we'll start to see the resurgence of this unit. But right now, he's kind of just whatever. LF Cell, again, pretty. I wish they made him better, dude. I mean, the thing with this Cell is he's so specific to anti-hybrids that if the hybrid meta is not really dominant in PvP, this guy's not really going to see that much play. I mean, he's definitely not like the worst unit if there's not a hybrid Saiyan, but he does a lot of damage extra against. I mean, we could take a look at this, like Cell. I think he gets like 50% extra damage to hybrids, something like this. Yeah, 30% extra damage to hybrids, and then 20% extra damage to hybrids or Saiyans. So he's doing 50% extra damage to hybrids. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then the main issue that I found with this unit is that it just takes a little bit too long to get his gauge filled up, because when you compare this Cell to like the Trunks or the Gogeta, for example, when this Cell first dropped, I was like, oh, this is not that bad to get filled up, and it actually wasn't that bad. And then we came to Legends Festival, And Trunks is getting his gauge filled up in like 3 hits or 4 hits or whatever it is, and Gogeta's like getting a gauge filled up every time he combos. So yeah, I think this cell looked pretty good upon initial release, but when you compare him to like the newer, again, all these characters over here, he just seems very underwhelming. It's pretty sad. Zenkai Super Saiyan 4 Goku, again, a Zenkai character, so not really that much to say here, but he's, still pretty good, I think. Red Broly is... Oh, Red Broly's on here twice, actually. Oh, he's still B tier, though. So whatever. I don't know if he's moving up or down into B tier, but Red Broly's going to be in B tier. Right? It's kind of a non-factor. Again, another Zenkai character. This guy's a Zenkai character as well, moving up into B tier, so people are not using Green Broly as much, which makes sense, Green unit. And then Purple Broly is moving up into B tier. Purple movies. I mean, I guess the reasoning is that because he's a Purple movies character, there's just better choices, right? You'd rather just run Revival Gohan. You'd rather just run Goku and Vegeta on the movies team rather than this Broly. So that to me makes sense why people aren't using him as much. Moving down into B tier is Ultra Omega. I think if you're going to use a red unit in this meta, there's a very few select units you'd probably choose to use. On that list, I'd probably include Ultra Omega. He's actually a really good unit. I think people underrate Ultra Omega already, but he's actually a solid unit, even though he is red. Him and like Grade 8 Vegeta are like two of the red units in this meta that I would actually consider quite good and usable right now. Cooler Movie Goku. A premium unit. I'm actually surprised he's not in C tier. I would probably expect him to move down into C tier soon, but the problem with this unit is that he's only been on one banner ever, I think, and it was the All-Star banner. And I think he might have, I think he was on the Happy Bag banner. So maybe people, pulled him on the Happy Bag banner and they started using him more, which is why he's moving down into B tier, but I do fully expect him to move back down into C tier maybe next season. Green Gogeta moving down. I mean, they gave him out for free, but this is like one of the worst units to ever. This is like this is a candidate for one of the worst on-release characters ever. Nobody used him, and they gave him out for free. The fact that they did not Zenkai Green Gogeta during the celebration is almost insulting. They're giving out like an actual legitimately awful character. Who is using this guy? It's a joke. Red Goku. This is actually you take a look at the free Gokus given out as part of that Kakarot event. So I think it was 6 in total, right? It was base, Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, then God, then Blue. Yeah, so 6 Gokus in total. I think this red base form Goku actually is probably one of the better one of those Gokus. So seeing him move down, I guess makes sense. But then again, he's a red character, so I don't know. And then the yellow GT Vegeta moving down. He's a solid character for GT. Again, I think he definitely is a better option than Sin Shenron, right? Pairs up well with the LF Super Saiyan 4 Goku, especially now that Super Saiyan 4 Goku has his unique equipment. That pairing actually gets a little bit stronger, but the fact that they're both yellow kind of makes it a little bit difficult to use them both together. So I get why he's not in C tier, but he's a solid option for the GT team if you want to use him there with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. They're pretty much made to be used together, right? All right, so now back to down all the way to C tier. Full Power Frieza, pretty obvious why he's in C tier. One of the best units in the game to use right now. I mean, I grinded the God rank with him pretty effortlessly in the season. Counters all the he counters all the endurance units, and he counters Mono Purple. So he pretty much counters the entire meta right now. So it's one of the most valuable units in the game. Red Frieza, I'm not honestly really sure why he moved down to C tier, considering he's not really a character I would consider to be very good. The only reason I could see this is because maybe people are trying out the Full Power Frieza more, and because of that they want to pair alongside Red Frieza with him on LOE or something, and that's why he's down here. That's the only guess I have. Purple Zamasu. I guess people just want to use Future more. He fits on the Future team, so they moved him down here because he's being used more in Future, I guess. I don't really know. Green Kefla, I mean, the only explanation I have for why she's moving down to C tier is because of the Fusion team seeing a lot of increased usage in the past few weeks with Super Vegeta Zenkai and now Ultra Gogeta coming out. And I guess maybe people are like, okay, well, I want to just make a full Fusion team. And I guess that's a similar thing we can see with Blue Gogeta down here, right? A lot of these two Fusion characters, the reason why they're probably down here is because just the overall team is seeing an increased usage because of the two new, the one new Zenkai, then Ultra Gogeta. And people are just like, okay, well, I'm going to just use Fusion. So that's why they're probably down here. I actually have zero reason why this guy's here. Like, what? He's terrible. Like, he's actually like he's at this point he is bad. I have no idea why this guy's on here. Like, why is he moving down to C tier? This guy should not be in C. This guy should be like in like S tier or something, or at least A tier. I think is a good spot for this green Super Saiyan 4 Goku. This is very strange to me. I don't know why he's here. Same thing kind of goes for this red blue Goku, the red Super Saiyan blue Goku from the 2nd year anniversary. I don't see a situation where this guy would ever be useful at all right now. We have the yellow free-to-play Rose Goku Black. Again, I feel like it kind of makes sense why he's in C tier. He's actually a pretty decent free-to-play unit. He is able to extend combos for a long period of time. He's yellow, so he counters mono purple. And he should fare decently well against Ultra Gogeta because Ultra Gogeta is not immune to being debuffed, so you can actually get the bleed off on him and get his combos extended out and stuff like that. So pretty good character. Makes sense why he's in C tier. Red Rose, I have no idea. I guess, again, people are just using like God Key with Goku and Vegeta, and they throw Red Rose on there. Future with Red Rose makes sense, I guess. Not really, but he makes the cut for the future team for a lot of people for some reason. And then Trunks and Mai are going down to C tier as well. I guess something similar. A lot of these C tier units, with the exception of like Full Power Frieza, I think are just characters that you're seeing being put into C tier because of the fact that they are sort of like side characters that you would use on the teams of other characters that are used a lot. So we're seeing basically everyone on this list is either Future or Fusion. Right? And then Full Power Frieza is like the only unit moving down into C tier that actually like carries the team by himself and is a good unit. Every other unit on this list is kind of just like not that great, except for like Purple Zamasu, I think is still really good. And maybe Yellow Rose as well. So that is the full sort of change log of the tier boost system for this upcoming season. Let me know down below which characters on this list you want to see me cover in terms of a video. Definitely gonna at least do Nappa. This is like this is like the day one video I do. Like him in S tier, they're out of their mind. Like he's gonna be ridiculous in here. And then for sure, the next video I'm gonna be doing is probably just Demon King Piccolo. But yeah, any other unit on this list you want to see me cover for a video, like the Revival Gohan, New Level of Power Ice Shenron, let me know, and I will try to make that happen. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one.